Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 24, text 28. We have been hearing how the Prachetas have gone to the place of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva has appeared in front of them. Ya Param Brahmasa Sakshan.
Ya Param Brahmasa Sakshat
Triguna Jiva Samnita
Triguna Jiva Samnitat
Bhagavantam Vasudevam
Bhagavantam Vasudevam
Prapana Sapriyohine.
Prapanasa Priyohime.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shiva continued, any person who surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature, as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. Your Lord Shiva is saying that which kind of persons are dear to him? Those who are surrendered to Krishna. And he is pointing out the position of Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entity. Now Lord Shiva explains the reason he has personally come before the princes. It is because all the princes are devotees of Lord Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 19, that those who are cultivating knowledge, those who are on the path of Gyan, what happens is after many births and deaths, when they really realize the knowledge, then one will surrender to Krishna. One who's actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. It means one who's actually gotten the Gyan, what he does, he surrenders to Krishna. Understanding Krishna's position, Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes, and all that is. And Krishna is saying one who surrenders to him is a Mahatma. And such a soul is very rare. Not everyone surrenders to Krishna. So after many, many births and deaths, when one is cultivating knowledge, Gyan, then one finally surrenders to Krishna. Lord Shiva is rarely seen by common men, and similarly, a person who is fully surrendered unto Vasudeva Krishna is also very rarely seen, because a person who is fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord is very rare. Samahatma Sudurlabha. The pure devotee, fully surrendered to Vasudeva, means he's a pure devotee, he's completely liberated, he's a Jivan Mukta on the liberated platform. Not easy to see such personalities. Lord Shiva came especially to see the Prachetas because they were fully surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also mentioned in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Since Vasudeva is the ultimate truth, Lord Shiva openly proclaims that one who is a devotee of Lord Vasudeva, who surrendered to Lord Krishna, is actually very dear to him. So Lord Shiva is telling us how we can become dear to him. By surrendering to Krishna, we can become dear to Lord Shiva. Lord Vasudeva, Krishna is worshipable not only by ordinary living entities, but by demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and others. So the demigods, they are also part and parcel of Krishna. They are not independent of Krishna. The demigods are also following Krishna's orders. It's under Krishna's order that Lord Brahma creates, it's under Krishna's order that Lord Shiva annihilates. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastavanti Divyestave Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 13, Text 1. Krishna is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Varuna, Indra, Chandra, and all other demigods. So we can see that, the whole material world, living entities in the material world, one wants to worship the demigods, but who are the demigods worshipping? They are worshipping Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva is always in meditation. Who is he meditating on? Lord Brahma, whose glories is he singing in Brahma Samhita? Under whose order is the wind blowing and the sun and the moon in their orbit? It's all as a service to Krishna. So that is also the situation with a devotee. Indeed, one who takes to Krishna consciousness immediately becomes very dear to anyone who is simply finding out and beginning to understand what Krishna consciousness actually is. So Lord Shiva is telling us how we can become dear to him, we can become dear to the demigods and to everyone. Just as pouring the water on the root of a tree, the entire tree gets healthy. Similarly, when one serves Krishna, then everyone becomes pleased with such a person. Similarly, all the demigods are also trying to find out who is actually surrendered to Lord Vasudeva. Because the Pracheta princes were surrendered to Vasudeva, Lord Shiva willingly came forth to see them. So Lord Shiva is giving them his mercy. The demigods also, they make arrangements for when they see one is sincere to engage in Krishna's service, the demigods also help such a person in their service to Krishna. Lord Vasudeva or Krishna is described in Bhagavad Gita as Purushottam. Actually, he is the enjoyer Purusha and the Supreme Uttama as well. He is the enjoyer of everything, the Prakriti and the Purusha. Being influenced by the three modes of material nature, the living entity tries to dominate material nature, but actually he is not the Purusha enjoyer, but Prakriti, as described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 5. Apareyam itasva anyam prakritim vidine para. Thus the jiva, or living entity, is actually Prakriti, or the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. We are thinking we are man, woman, or whatever gender, but we are actually all spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. We are marginal energy of Krishna. Being associated with material energy, he tries to lord it over the material nature. Associated with the material energy, how we are associated, the modes are controlling us. The modes completely bind us. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 7. Mamaivam jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So this is our position here in the material world. That due to conditioned life, we are thinking right now that we are the body, everything connected to the body is mine. And because of this conditioning, this consciousness, material consciousness, we are struggling in this material world. And this struggle is called karshati. We are trying to be the controllers. And that is a struggle because, no matter how much we try, we are unable to do it. When like the small child, he tries, he practices to walk, and he can actually walk one day. And what walk? He can run, jump, skip, everything. Why? Because the potential is there, the capability is there for the child to do such things. So he practices and he's able to walk and run. So we, since time immemorial, we are trying very hard to control, to own, to enjoy, trying and trying, but we are unable to do it. Why? Because that's not our actual position. And we are not able to understand this. And because of this, then we end up struggling here in this material world. Karshati. So with the six senses, which include the mind, but what is actually the position of the living entity Krishna is giving? They are my eternal fragmental parts. Each and every one of us has a loving relationship with Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. It's not that somebody took a scissor and cut us away from Krishna. No, we are eternally parts, spiritual parts. Already Krishna said, cannot be cut, cannot be immuted, is eternal, cannot be killed. So we eternally exist. Krishna eternally exists. We eternally exist. By endeavoring to dominate material nature, the living entity simply struggles hard for existence. Indeed, he struggles so hard to enjoy himself that he cannot even enjoy the material resources. Thus, he is sometimes called Prakriti or Jiva, for he is situated in the marginal potency. When the living entity is covered with the three modes of material nature, he is called Jiva Samjnita. There are two kinds of living entities. One is called Shara, and the other is Akshara. Shara refers to those who have fallen down and become conditioned, and Akshara refers to those who are not conditioned. So like the Nitya Bhada and Nitya Mukta. The Nitya Mukta, they are the eternally liberated. They're always living in the spiritual world. Nitya Bhada are here in the conditioned world. Similarly, here is called Shara and Akshara. Shara, conditioned living entity. We are the Shara. Akshara, the liberated, those who are not conditioned, so the liberated living entities. The vast majority of living entities live in the spiritual world and are called Akshara. They are in the position of Brahman, pure spiritual existence. They're different from those who have been conditioned by the three modes of material nature. So we may already think, we hear there's so much population is growing, we hear such things. Or what's going to happen? We will overpopulate the planet. But not only are there living entities on this planet, but there's living entities in all the other planets of the material world. And the spiritual world is much greater than the material world. The material world is only a tiny portion. The spiritual world is much, much bigger than the material world, 3 times bigger, it is said. 1/4 is material world and the 3/4 is the spiritual world. Being above both the Shara and Akshara, Lord Krishna Vasudeva is described in Bhagavad Gita 5:18 as Purushottam. The impersonalists may say that Vasudeva is the impersonal Brahman, but actually the impersonal Brahman is subordinate to Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.27. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. That Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman is also confirmed in Brahma Samhita 5.40. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadana jagadanda koti. So Krishna is the source of the Brahman. One may think that the Brahman is ultimate and then Krishna is being born from the Brahman. No, but Krishna himself is saying, no, I am the source of the Brahman. The Brahman is coming from me. It's the light which is coming from my body. Brahma Samhita is saying the same thing. The impersonal Brahman is nothing but the effulgence or bodily rays of Krishna. And in those bodily rays, there are innumerable universes floating. Thus, in all respects, Vasudeva Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Lord Shiva is very satisfied with those who are completely surrendered to him. So, Lord Shiva is completely surrendered to Krishna. Lord Shiva is a pure devotee. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho, he's the best of the Vaishnavas. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. And so, the living entities who are completely surrendered to Krishna are very dear to Lord Shiva. He's not saying that my devotees are very dear to me. He's saying the devotee of Krishna is very dear to me. Complete surrender is desired by Krishna, as he indicates in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 1866. Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam raja. Krishna demands that. He says, he is demanding. Abandon all varieties of religion, he says, and just surrender unto me. And then we may doubt, we may become fearful. He says, I will save you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. The word sakshat, meaning directly, is very significant. There are many so-called devotees, but actually they are only karmis and jnanis, for they are not directly devotees of Lord Krishna. The karmis sometimes offer the results of the activities to Lord Vasudeva, and this offering is called karma arpanam. These are considered to be fruitive activities, for the karmis consider Lord Vishnu to be one of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Because they consider Lord Vishnu to be on the same level with the demigods, they contend that surrendering to the demigods is as good as surrendering unto Vasudeva. This contention is denied herein because if it were true, Lord Shiva would have said that surrender unto him, Lord Vasudeva, Vishnu, or Brahma is the same. However, Lord Shiva does not say this because he himself surrenders unto Vasudeva, and whoever else surrenders unto Vasudeva is very, very dear to him. So one may think, oh, whoever you surrender to, it's the same, surrender to Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu, it's all the same. But no, it's not. Otherwise, Lord Shiva would have said that. He's saying, no, surrender to Lord Krishna, and such a person is very dear to me. He's very clear. So this conclusion is that a devotee of Lord Shiva is not dear to Lord Shiva, but a devotee of Lord Krishna is very dear to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is telling us, surrender to Krishna and become dear to me. So we can get the mercy of Lord Shiva if we surrender to Krishna. So
yes. Sorry. Yeah,
yes,
Krishna. I just want to check. You said that we are Shara, is it?
Mm-hmm.
We are Akshara, right?
We are
The
the Shara.
Akshara. So we are Nitya Padas, is it?
We are the Nitya Bada.
And then the Shara is the Nitya Muktas, right?
The Akshara. It was this verse or the previous one?
Let
me just look for it. Akshara.
Yes.
So the
Akshara is the condition.
Condition.
Yeah. Nitya Badas, right? Also another name for it.
That's
and
right.
then the Shara.
Akshara. The Akshara is
the
Nitya Mukta.
Nitya Muktas.
Mukta, yeah.
Okay.
Those who are living in the spiritual world.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Swadharmanishta shatajanmabhi puman
Swadharmanishta shatajanmabhi puman
virinchatam eti tata param himam
virinchatam eti tata param himam
avyakritam bhagvatotha vaishnavam
avyakritam
Bhagavatottha Vaishnavam
Vaishnavam
padam yathaham vibudha kalatyaye
padam
Yathaham Vibudha
kalatyaye.
Kalatyaye.
Person who executes his occupational duty properly for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. And if he becomes more qualified, he can approach Lord Shiva. A person who is directly surrendered to Lord Krishna or Vishnu in unalloyed devotional service is immediately promoted to the spiritual planets. Lord Shiva and other demigods attain these planets after the destruction of this material world. So Lord Shiva is saying, he and the other demigods, they have to wait till the material world is destroyed so they can go back home, back to Godhead. Whereas a pure devotee can go immediately back to Godhead. He doesn't need to wait. The universe, it exists for a long time, 100 years of Brahma. And we said our human years is like 311 trillion or some years, no? Something like that, a huge number. So, and then who can become Lord Brahma is one who is doing his duties perfectly for 100 births. Wow. And if he does it, if he becomes more qualified than this, then he can associate with Lord Shiva. So this verse gives an idea of the highest perfection of the evolutionary process. As described by the Vaishnava poet Jayadev Goswami, Pralaya Payoti Jale Drishtvan e Asive Vedam. Let us begin tracing the evolutionary process from the point of devastation, Pralaya, when the whole universe is filled with water. At that time, there are many fishes and other aquatics, and from these aquatics evolved creepers, trees, etc. From these insects and reptiles evolved, and from them birds, beasts, and then human beings, and finally civilized human beings. Now, the civilized human being is at a junction where he can make further evolutionary progress in spiritual life. So, this natural evolution, the samsara, going through the 8,400,000 species of life. So all the species are created, the fish, aquatics, creepers, trees, like this. There is a gradual evolution. Insects, reptiles, and then the human being. Now we have a choice. Where do we want to go? Do we want to stay in the human body? Do we want to go down to the hellish planets or hellish bodies or animal bodies? Or do we want to go take demigod bodies in higher planetary systems? Or do we want spiritual body? A choice. This is a choice we are given in this human form.
So do we, each of us, have to go through all this 8,400,000 species amid births?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
We have, yes. We have been Brahma, we have been the worm also, but we've forgotten it.
Okay.
Can't remember. Yeah, each of us have to go through.
Have to go through each of this.
Yeah. Yeah, each of this.
Mm. And that's where we have reached now, the human, right? Human birth.
Yes, after this evolving of 8,400,000. Yes, now we are here. So now is our choice. Where do we want to go? Next life, do we again want to continue to evolve in this 8,400,000 species? Or do we want to go back home, back to Godhead? Yeah, that's why we are said to choose wisely in this human life. Here it is stated, Swadharma Nishta, that when a living entity comes to a civilized form of life, there must be Swadharma, social divisions according to one's work and qualifications. So civilized life, that's the difference between animal life and civilized human life. Swadharma, following the religious principles, following the codes of society, as this is indicated in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasham. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. So Krishna is saying that he has created the Varna Sharma society based on the modes of nature that we are in. Based on that, he has made us. In civilized human society, there must be the divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And everyone must properly execute his occupational duty in accordance with his division. Here it is described, Swadharma Nishtha, that it does not matter whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. If one sticks to his position and properly executes his particular duty, he is considered a civilized human being. Otherwise, he is no better than an animal. So it's not that, if one is born in a particular family or a particular varna, Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, or Kshatriya, they all must do the duties properly. And anyone who does the duty properly, he's called civilized human being. He may be in the Brahmana class or he may be in Shudra class, irrespective. It is also mentioned herein that whoever executes his occupational duty, Swadharma, for 100 births, for instance, if a Brahmana continues to act as a Brahmana, becomes eligible for promotion to Brahmaloka, the planet where Lord Brahma lives. There's also a planet called Shivaloka or Sadashivaloka, which is situated in a marginal position between the spiritual and material worlds. If after being situated in Brahmalok, one becomes more qualified, he is promoted to Sadashivaloka. Similarly, when one becomes even more qualified, he can attain the Vaikuntha Lokas. So Sadashivaloka, Prabhupada is explaining, is at the margin of the spiritual and material world. So, margin. So it's above the material world.
It's above, yeah.
At the margin of the spiritual world. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just also seeing, that Sadashivlok, Shivalok is above
Yeah,
the Brahmalok.
above the material world. That's right. And then one can go on to the spiritual world then, Vaikuntha Loka. Similarly, when one becomes, so the Vaikuntha Lokas are targets for everyone, even the demigods, and they can be attained by a devotee who has no desire for material benefit. As indicated in Bhagavad Gita 8.16, one does not escape material miseries, even if he is elevated to Brahmaloka, Brahma Bhuvana Loka, Punar Avartino Arjuna. So we may think, okay, I'm going to become Lord Brahma. I'll become the most powerful living entity in this universe. Lord Brahma is the most qualified of us all over here. He's the most powerful. So one may think, okay, I'm going to become Brahma and I can enjoy forever. But the scriptures tell us no. Even Lord Brahma has to die. Even there's miseries for him. And so we are urged to go back home, back to Godhead in our original position. Similarly, one is not very safe even if he's promoted to Shivalok, because the planet of Shivalok is marginal. However, if one attains Vaikuntha Lok, he attains the highest perfection of life. And at the end of the evolutionary process, Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. In other words, it is confirmed herein that a person in human society who has developed consciousness must take to Krishna consciousness in order to be promoted to Vaikuntha Lok or Krishna Lok immediately after leaving the body. So a devotee of Krishna, he does not have to go up to Brahma Lok, then from Brahma Lok go to Shiva Lok, then from Shiva Lok to Vaikuntha Lok. Like no need transit, a direct flight. How we want to reach our destination. So direct flight is faster, least time involved, least energy involved, shortest. So no need for transit. So take up Krishna consciousness and go immediately to Krishna Lok. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamiti sorjana. Bhagavad Gita 4.9. A devotee who's fully in Krishna consciousness, who's not attracted by any other loka or planet, including Brahma Lok and Shiva Lok, is immediately transferred to Krishna Lok. Mam eti. That is the highest perfection of life and the perfection of the evolutionary process. So the perfection of the evolutionary process is to give up this evolutionary process, to give up, to get out of the cycle of birth and death. That is the perfection. Is that okay?
Yeah, or like how Lord Chaitanya said, the highest perfection of life is Prema Pumartha Mahan, right?
Yes. Prema Pumartha Mahan. Yes. One who has revived his love for Krishna is already in Krishna Lok. Because wherever he sees in Krishna, he's with Krishna. Yes. Prema Pumartha Mahan. Perfection of human life. So somehow or the other, we should also try to have this desire. Oh, even I would like to get Krishna Prema. And I would like to go back home, back to Godhead.
Yeah, and also I like the way it says that what is civilized life, like if you are civilized, what does it mean? It's not that you accumulate wealth and everything that's called civilized. It is how you, right, and you do your duties, prescribed duties, and engage in devotional, right, service.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So that is civilized.
Yes. Engaging properly in one's duties, engaging in devotional service.
Devotional. How you progress, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Atha Bhagavata Yuyam.
Atha Bhagavata Yuyam.
Priyasta Bhagavan Yatha.
Priyasta Bhagavan Yatha.
Namad Bhagavatanam Cha.
Namad Bhagavatanam Nam.
Preyan Anyasti Karhichit.
Preyan Anyo Asti Karchit.
You are all devotees of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me and that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. Yeah, Lord Shiva is very dear to the devotees of Krishna because Lord Shiva is a devotee himself. It is said, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of all devotees. Therefore, all devotees of Lord Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. In Vrindavan, there is Lord Shiva's temple called Gopishwar. The gopis used to worship not only Lord Shiva, but Katyayani or Durga as well. But their aim was to attain the favor of Lord Krishna. So a devotee of Krishna, so when he approaches Lord Shiva, it is for devotional service, not for any material benefit. So the gopis, they were worshipping Katyayani, not for any material benefit. They wanted Krishna as their husband. A devotee of Lord Krishna does not respect Lord Shiva, but worships Lord Shiva as the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. Consequently, whenever a devotee worships Lord Shiva, he prays to Lord Shiva to achieve the favor of Krishna, and he does not request material profit. In Bhagavad Gita 7.20, it is said that generally people worship demigods for some material profit. Kamesteste Shrita Jnana Prapadyantinya Devata. Driven by material lust, they worship demigods, but a devotee never does so, for he is never driven by material lust. Now we may say, but I have a lot of material lust. What do I do, Still worship Krishna. Bhagavatam says that. Still worship Krishna. So that is the difference between a devotee's respect for Lord Shiva and an asura's respect for him. The asura worships Lord Shiva, takes some benediction from him, misuses the benediction, and ultimately is killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who awards him liberation. So the devotee, he worships Lord Shiva just to ask for pure devotional service. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva told the Prachetas that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. Lord Shiva was not kind and merciful only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very dear to Lord Shiva. Not only are the devotees dear to Lord Shiva, but he respects them as much as he respects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, devotees of the Supreme Lord also worship Lord Shiva as the most dear devotee of Lord Krishna. They do not worship him as a separate personality of Godhead. So the devotees understand the position of Lord Shiva. They understand that he is not the Supreme Lord. They understand that he is a pure devotee of Krishna. And in this way, they offer him the highest respect. It is stated in the list of Nama Prats that it is an offense to think that the chanting of the name of Hari and the chanting of Hara or Shiva are the same. So Lord Shiva's name is Hara, Lord Krishna's name is Hari. And in the 10 offenses, the Nama Prad, 10 offenses to the holy name, if one thinks that, oh, you chant any name is the same as chanting Krishna's name, that is an offense. It's not the same. Devotees must always know that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that Lord Shiva is his devotee. A devotee should be offered respect on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and sometimes even more respect. Indeed, Lord Rama, the Personality of Godhead himself, sometimes worshipped Lord Shiva. If a devotee is worshipped by the Lord, why should a devotee not be worshipped by other devotees on the same level with the Lord? This is the conclusion. From this verse, it appears that Lord Shiva blesses the asuras simply for the sake of formality. Actually, he loves one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Lord Ramachandra also worshipped Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is very dear to the devotees because he himself is a pure devotee of the Lord. And Prabhupada is pointing out that Lord Shiva loves not his devotees, but he loves Krishna's devotees. He wants everyone to become a pure devotee of Krishna. Did you want to add anything or comment? So here we can see, because one may say, oh, you say any name, you chant any mantra, it's the same as chanting Krishna's names. No, that's offensive. Yes, it's in the nama prats, the offenses to chanting the holy name. Okay, going
I'm a
on.
bit confused. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that don't worship demigods. And here they're saying that you can worship. See, like Lord Shiva,
Understand.
it's
Mhm.
devotee, right,
Yeah.
of Krishna. So then,
Mhm. So very good
and they
point.
say,
Very
like,
good point. Very good point. What happens
Hare
is,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
yes,
Hare
Auntie.
Krishna.
Hare
हाँ,
Krishna.
यानी शिव की भक्ति वैसे करना चाहिए कि वो भक्त हैं, बड़े भक्त हैं उस रूप में.
Yes, thank you. That's right. Thank you. Understanding that Lord Shiva is a pure devotee of Krishna. In that mood, can
Yes.
worship him.
हाँ.
But not worshipping him thinking that he is the Supreme Lord.
he's absolute.
Yeah. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, thank you, Auntie Rishmi. So
Hare
in
Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is saying, yes, I'll just finish this, Deepika, just one moment.
Yeah.
So when Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that don't worship the demigods, he's saying understand the position of the demigods, In that way, he's saying that.
So
Because
don't
they are
worship
not
them,
the
it's
Supreme
the
Lord.
absolute. Okay.
Yes. And don't worship. He's completely saying, worship me. If you want any material desire also, don't worship the demigods. Worship me, he's saying. And here also it was pointed out that a devotee worships Lord Shiva not for material desire, but for pure devotional service. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, don't worship demigods. You have material desire, you come to me. I can fulfill it. That is the mood. And one respects Lord Shiva understanding, or worships Lord Shiva understanding, he is a pure devotee of Krishna. And not asking material benefit from him, but asking for pure devotional service.
But it also says, right, that the devotees in that level, same as the Supreme, right? It was.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why, like, why is it saying that same level?
Because the devotee he's representing Krishna here. And Lord Shiva himself says, Vaishnav, that of all the worship of Lord Vishnu is the best, and higher than worship of Lord Vishnu is the devotee of Lord Vishnu. Because the devotees are so dear to Krishna. Krishna has made this to help us understand that he gives so much importance to his devotee. That he loves his devotee so much that he's putting his devotee on a higher level than him. Not saying that the devotee is God. We have to understand only Krishna is God.
That we have
And
to.
the devotee is a devotee.
Right. Devotee,
yeah.
They said, the devotee cannot be God. Cannot be the
can
Supreme.
never be God. Never. If anyone says he's God, he's not a devotee. Only Krishna is God. And a devotee will never say he's God. And one should not give that kind of respect to a devotee that he's God. No, only Krishna is God, and the devotee is respected as a devotee of Krishna. that he's such a
So
devotee of
what should
Krishna.
be clear? Yeah, offered respect on the level of the Supreme Person, but like as a devotee, not
Yes, understanding his position. Yes, and because he's a pure devotee of Krishna.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that is, yes. Yeah. Only Krishna is God. God is not a post. Like Lord Brahma is a post. God is not a post. Only God is God. Yes.
He's the absolute.
Yes, he's the absolute. Yeah.
Right.
So, and here, for example, is said that the devotees of Krishna, to them, Lord Shiva is very dear because they understand that Lord Shiva is a devotee of
Best.
Krishna.
Mm,
Yeah, understanding his position as a devotee.
devotee, right?
So understanding the position, the tattva.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So when they say the Shiva Tattva, devotees who
Yes.
are in the Shiva Tattva, so does it mean that they worship Shiva in that respect as because he's the best devotee of Krishna?
So there may be some of them, worshipping him, Lord Shiva, because he's the best devotee of Krishna, and then some may be like direct devotees of Lord Shiva, direct worshippers of Lord Shiva, no?
Like how we say, right? The Brahma Tattva, Shiva Tattva, right? Like from where
Brahma is
we
not a tattva. Brahma is not a tattva. Lord Brahma.
uh-huh.
Jiva,
Lord Brahma
Jiva,
is a
Jiva.
Brahma,
yeah.
Jiva.
Huh. Thank you. Yes, Lord Brahma is also a jiva. Only
Like how
Lord
they are the
Shiva.
Sampradaya, no? The Sampradaya.
Sampradaya. Yes, Rudra
So,
Sampradaya. Those are coming, worshipping. They are coming in the line of Lord Shiva. Yes.
right.
They also understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord.
So they understand that Krishna is the Supreme, right?
Yes, because it's a Vaishnava Sampradaya. Vaishnavas
Oh,
means they understand Krishna or Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord.
okay.
Yes. Deepika, you were wanting to say something?
No, like even yesterday, this was the same thing what I was wondering, but it was already clear. You already explained also to me this thing. I mean, I was like, wow, material benedictions are given by Lord Shiva, but we always look for Krishna. We don't want that. And then we pray to Lord Shiva for material benedictions, but he sees it. He can see it in future. We are going to go. Our ultimate goal would be Lord Krishna, and that's why he gives the benediction. So I was seeing it differently. Why? Yeah, but then I understood when it was written like Lord Shiva gives the material benedictions because he can see the devotee will ultimately go into devotion of Lord Krishna.
Lord Shiva gives material benediction to devotees of Lord Krishna. Devotees of Lord Krishna don't ask material benediction.
Don't ask
from
for
Lord
it. Exactly why I was confused. Why do we go for material benedictions? I mean, why do
Because
we
we have
even
material
go?
desires.
Because they are two different things. I was like, why we are reading about Lord Krishna, and then why do we want material benedictions? And that's why I was confused yesterday. So why would we pray to Lord Shiva for material benedictions? But then,
No,
yes,
we don't don't. We don't pray to
Yes,
Lord Shiva for material benediction. We pray
yes,
to Lord Shiva to give us devotion, if in
yes,
any case we are worshipping
yes,
Lord Shiva.
yes. So that's what I got clarified yesterday, and I was like,
Ah,
wow, this is beautiful. I mean, it's already written here. Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
और हरे कृष्णा, फिर कृष्णा
Hare
है ना अपने भक्त की, कृष्णा अपने भक्त की हर इच्छा उनको पता है, अंतर्यामी है वो बिना बोले ही अपने भक्त की सब इच्छाएं पूरी करते हैं.
हम्म, हाँ सही है. Yeah, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsa.
हाँ,
He's
yes.
always cared for his devotees. Bhakta Vatsa. His name is Bhakta Vatsa. One of his names. He's always taking care of his devotees, fulfilling all the desires of his devotees.
हाँ. और भक्त की निशानी है कि वो मांगता नहीं है, वो सिर्फ भक्ति मांगता है, भक्ति करता.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for this enlivening participation. Let's stop here for today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad
जय
Bhagavatam ki. Gaur
की जय.
Bhakta Vrinda ki.
हरे
Hare Krishna.